Trials are swift, if at all. So
yeah,
it's just, why do we let this happen openly? This is not just plain in our faces. This is, I stole all your money. I used all your office up, okay, written hard, put away wet, and there's nothing you can do about it.
yeah. I'll end with the line, it's like they're spitting in our face and the air is clean. Can we have that? Like, so we're gonna go all the way to Saudi Arabia to get a nice breath of fresh air, but our EPA doesn't give a damn what poison we pump into there. Like, could we not give up here? I feel like they're setting up Elysium, but they can't get it airborne yet, so they're doing it over in the desert or something. Like, I don't want to give up on America yet. I feel like Donald Trump and his family have. Anyway, that is unfortunately all the time we have for the show. Sharon, as always, thank you. I appreciate it.
I enjoyed it. And go take care of that dog of yours. 1 or 2 more Fritos. There's got to be some more in the house.
They did get him to stop barking, I think there. I think he does like Fritos anyway. But thank you as always, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, everybody. Tomorrow we will, of course, still be here. Viviana is going to be joining us. Should be a lot of fun. I imagine she's going to be very fired up about what's going on in Minneapolis. And then we will be closing out the week with Brett Ehrlich and doing our Garbage People of the Week. So there's still a lot more to look forward to here on the Damage Board this week. So don't go anywhere. For now, though, stay safe out there. Stay sane out there. We'll see you soon.
Another opportunity to sit in the chair for Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. And once again, joining us, our special guest co-host is Jackson White today.
Once again.
Such a busy schedule. So it's always fun when you make time and you're here for us.
Oh, yeah. Well, shit, you the one who was busy. You just did the damage report. You back to back.
Oh, I love John. I love that show. And it's a very fast-paced show. I mean, I had to grab a latte, just to keep up. He packed so much into it.
Mhm.
And I think we do here too. Maybe I don't get through as much as Doc. I'll try to concentrate better. But again, happy to have you here. What do you say we get after it, Jackson?
Let's make it happen.
We begin with a Ford worker suspended after Trump flipped him off for heckling him. Ford worker suspended for calling Donald Trump a pedophile protector. And this is how the president responded. As the mother of a middle school student, I can tell you that this would not even be in school detention. The reaction would mean you're going home for a couple of days. And they might say, go send Donnie for an evaluation. Make sure his mental health is okay, because it's just not what we do. The auto worker who called President Donald Trump a pedophile protector during Trump's visit to a Detroit Ford plant on Tuesday has been suspended from his position pending an investigation. What are you investigating? We saw it there. Okay. Well, there's no need. I love investigations. Let's ferret everything out. But if we already have all the facts here, I don't understand. We have the footage. Anyway, buying some time, I guess they are. Following the incident on Tuesday, which saw 40-year-old TJ Sabula shout pedophile protector at Trump, where the president responded with a middle finger and an F you. The auto worker was reportedly suspended from his position. Mediaite filling in the details for us. As far as calling him out, definitely no regrets whatsoever, Sabula told the Washington Post. Despite having no regrets about his choice of words for the president, Sabula did express concern over his future at the plant, claiming he had been targeted for political retribution for embarrassing Trump in front of his friends. It's a good lawsuit. I think he'll come out ahead of this. There's the union. Do your job, union. I don't feel as though fate looks upon you often. And when it does, you better be ready to seize the opportunity, he said. And today, I think I did that. Look at the glasses. Don't you know him? I know him. I like him. Good guy. He'd be great to go have a beer with. If you're non-alcoholic, I don't know, it's a virgin cocktail or something. But he's great. And a patriot, a true patriot. Sabula identified himself to the newspaper as a political independent and said that while he had never voted for the president, he had supported other Republican candidates. In a statement addressing the heckling incident, White House Communications Director Stephen Chang defended Trump's response, saying, a lunatic was wildly screaming expletives in a complete fit of rage. Is that defending the president or describing what the president did? It sounds like Chung is describing what his boss, the president, did. Complete fit of rage, expletives. And the president gave an appropriate and unambiguous response. No, he didn't. He gave one that would get him suspended from middle school. This is what happened. During an interview with CBS Evening News anchor Tony DeCopel, I bet, at the plant, Trump claimed it was, quote, a good thing that Ford was struggling to find enough workers, suggesting that the auto workers would soon be replaced by robots. You're going to have a thing called robots, and robots are going to be a big factor. I predict that robots are going to be a big factor in the future, and it's going to help out, he said. Yeah, it's going to help more workers from Ford and other American automakers head to the food banks, which their pantries are dry right now. Don't really have anything left. This is what we want in a president. From the GoFundMe, TJ is a father of 2 young children, husband, proud United Auto Workers, UAW Local 600 line worker. Funds donated will support TJ and his family. So we have provided the GoFundMe for TJ in the description of this video. And I think that's a good thing to do at last check as we went to press. Well, hundreds of thousands of dollars is what it's going to be up to. Okay. And I don't have a problem with it. And I don't think he did it for the money, Jackson. I think he blurted out some much needed truth in America. And here's the thing, being in the public eye, in much lesser degree, obviously us, but I've had people accuse me of things I didn't do. And I've said, wait a minute. Once I was on stage as a news anchor, just representing the station, along with other stations. And they said, well, you guys, I said, don't, no, they didn't. They did. We didn't. And I was on the air, and that's not what we said. Here's what we did. I would just say, I didn't do that. But if you are a pedophile protector, Jackson, you respond with flipping someone the bird and yelling, F you. And I'm fine with this guy as a patriot. And I think the word hero is used too much, but he's a hero of free speech. What say you?
Well, I mean, first of all, just Trump flicking this dude off, telling him F you at all, but especially when you know that cameras are rolling, just is another reflection of how he really doesn't care at all about what people think about him or about the potential consequences of his actions. But the fact that Ford suspended this man, I think, is a really good reflection of the catastrophic impacts of Citizens United and considering corporations and donations from corporations to be human beings. Because at the end of the day, a corporation's main goal is to maximize profit. By law, they have to do that for the shareholders. And when, if you're a CEO or you're an executive of a company, there's a board above you. So there's a lot of pressure on you to not necessarily make the morally just decision. So you see companies like CBS giving Trump $16 million just so that they could maybe get their merger. More and more corporations in America are just bending over backwards when Trump gets mad, or if he may potentially get mad because they don't know how that may impact their bottom line. So I think that that's pretty dangerous going ahead because, I mean, in general, corporate America is not interested in being taxed higher, but the doors are just more and more open for, a bunch of lunatics in the far right, people who will continue to expand on imperialism and the likes, considering American protesters domestic terrorists, just that whole wing of the right, as corporate America continues to bend over for Donald Trump.
And it happens when my blood sugar's low, because on the previous show on TDR, I said, he'll survive this, the union. It's not a fireable offense. And now I'm going to say the opposite. He won't, because Ford has to do a calculation here, right? Just like you said, about becoming a target, being called out and punished. They would rather pay out whatever settlement. They'll go through the paces and pretend there's no investigation. They said, get him off the line now. We'll get back to this because he's in the building. And what Trump really yelled out at the end was, you're fired, which shows exactly who he is. Okay. That's what's going on here. So if they don't do away with him, that's what'll happen. He may become a candidate. It's probably too late for 2026, but maybe he'll become like a Joe the Plumber type candidate, and we'll see. But absolutely on brand for Trump. I will say this too. For the spokesperson for the president to keep saying this nonsense, these are the real robots here. These are the people who don't know their way in life. And I'm surprised they can find their way home. Keep navigation on. Okay, Google Maps. Because I remember a time when Bill Clinton lied to the American people. He lied about having sex with an intern. And doesn't matter how you feel about that. I'm just saying he lied. And people who work for him expressed disappointment. George Stephanopoulos being among them, one of his greatest defenders and supporters at the time, was furious. And there was a confrontation. And there was some outspokenness when he went on to work for ABC News shortly thereafter. During the scandals, it was still going on. Not this time. Unambiguous, appropriate, whatever the stupid statement from the spokesperson is for this president. He behaved worse than, and I apologize to middle school students. I do. He behaved worse than them. I'll give you the last word, Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, his behavior is completely insane and out of control. I think that what we are seeing though is Americans across the country standing up and just being flat out tired. Because at the end of the day, this isn't what Americans want. This isn't going to solve any of our economic problems, any of our issues with getting out of debt or just having hope for the future. I think that I have hope in the American people, and Donald Trump is going to continue to be himself.
Yeah, I do too. I just want to caution that the bar is so low, or so high rather, the threshold so high to get this bum out, to impeach this bum, to invoke the 25th Amendment, I believe it is.
Yeah.
I think you should invoke it on this. Every day he does something, and every day you should invoke it on this. He's unhinged, he's unwell, he's going into Ford in front of UAW workers and talking to the arm of the state, Tony DeCoppel. It's what he's become. Sorry, but it's true, Tony. That's who you are. And he's saying things like, look forward to these robots taking American jobs, not saving the auto industry. I want to do away with your job. Oh, well, let's move on to Iran. Protester there sentenced to death and given only 10 minutes to talk with family, say his goodbyes. It's a gut-wrenching story. It's 26-year-old Irfan Sultani. He's scheduled to be executed today for the sole crime, put it in quotes, of protesting. The regime gave him 10 minutes to talk with his family. Boy, this is just enormously cruel. It's beyond cruel. Let's figure out another word for it. Young Iranian protester was allegedly set to be executed Wednesday for taking part in the anti-government demonstrations against the Islamic Republic was given only 10 minutes to say goodbye to his family, according to a haunting new report. New York Post giving us some of these harrowing details. Irfan Sultani, age 26, given just a brief moment to see his family after being arrested during a protest January 8th, with security officials telling the relatives that it would be their final farewell before he faces the hangman. Iran Wire reporting this. Sultani, who is believed to be the first of the detained protesters scheduled for death, was also denied access to a lawyer or trial, that according to Iran Human Rights, an NGO. Even a close relative who was a lawyer tried to take on the case but was blocked and threatened by security agents, a source close to the family told Iran Wire. They told him there is no file to review. We announced that anyone arrested in the protest would be executed, the source added. Sultani's family has also allegedly been threatened with arrest if they try to speak publicly about the case or contact the media, according to the local outlet. Protesters being charged with waging war against God, crime punishable by death in Iran. U.S. Sun reporting that. Full details of Sultani's purported execution orders have yet to be independently verified amid the nationwide communications blackout in Iran. 26-year-old who worked in the clothing industry was among the thousands who marched in the streets last Thursday to protest Iran's current regime and its failures in fixing the country's ailing economy. More than 10,000 protesters have been arrested since the demonstrations broke out in late December across all of Iran's 31 provinces. That's according to human rights groups. And again, the regime doing their best to lock out international press here and keep this horrific, growing tragedy, the unjustness inside. Iranian authorities have pledged to swiftly punish anti-government protesters, with officials warning that anyone arrested is considered guilty of waging internal war against the regime. So, Jackson, we know that cruelty is the point. And in order to tamp down this latest widespread, must be really scary if you're doing this kind of ungodly work, war against God. Must be really scary for them. So they have to increase the cruelty. Perhaps a more humane thing would be don't let him say goodbye. Just go do what you're going to do. Hopefully it doesn't happen. We'll keep monitoring it. But they have to make sure this didn't just slip out. They want this out there, in my view, because they need these people to get back inside. Your thoughts?
Well, my general thoughts on this story is just recognizing a pattern of political unrest all over the world, that we've really been looking at, kind of a creeping impact for years now. But now, cumulatively, that just world powers are starting to change form, alliances are changing, trade routes are being rewritten. The United States is starting to lose its grip. The world is changing. And as that happens, the political establishments are cracking down, like we see in Iran, like we see here, like we see in many European countries, on trying to stay where they are, trying to keep people strapped down. Meanwhile, the economic reality is people can't afford life. Whether that be just affording a car, being able to have some type of real job security, having hope that your children may have some type of real future. That type of stuff is disappearing. And so I think that over the next 10 to 15 years, we're going to be dealing with revolutions around the world.
Mhm.
We're going to be dealing with governments being toppled and overthrown. We're going to be dealing with war breaking out. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on the public to stand up and be a part of that process because without it, whether it's regimes like Iran or what we're looking at here, uh, fascist, far right wing, fundamentalist power structures will win. So I think that we're entering pretty difficult times.
I do too. And I liken it to climate change, right? Climate change worsens natural disasters, the frequency, the intensity, heat waves, droughts, wildfires, floods. If you don't stop destroying the planet, that's what's coming. And so you're right. We perhaps look at these as little pockets, a big pocket here, right, in Iran, and here in our country, and other places around the world. But there's it shouldn't be looked at it in a vacuum. You're right. This is what's going on. It's spread nationalism and all of this nonsense. From what was his name, Boris? What's his face? The very strange former prime minister in the UK. But it was everywhere and people are starting to say, who perhaps don't speak the same languages, they don't, never seen each other before, but we're all feeling this energy that it's go time. So much so that a 26-year-old risk it all, knowing where he lives, knowing what this regime is capable of. And now, hope it doesn't happen. We're keeping watch, but here it is. Final thoughts?
Yeah, my final thoughts on this one in particular is I just think it's pretty ridiculous how Donald Trump and his administration are using this as an excuse to go into Iran because we care so much about the lives and the sovereignty and the rights of the protesters there when we deem pretty much anybody who stands up to Donald Trump in this country a domestic terrorist. And we see how much effort they're putting into blackening Renee Good's name to the point that people think she deserved to be shot. She deserved to die, acting like Jonathan Ross was in danger. Yeah, this is just an excuse for the Trump administration to do what they want to do.
Yeah. Will we let them? I just want to know if we're going to keep letting them do this and get away with it. Everybody's a bum until they don't. Everybody in the Capitol is a bum until they don't. Figure it out. Um, Instead of figuring that out and holding Trump accountable for everything that he has going on, everything that he's doing that's not legal, unconstitutional, our Congress, particularly the GOP, is threatening contempt as the Clintons are refusing to testify in the Epstein investigation. GOP is threatening contempt as Bill and Hillary Clinton refused to testify in Epstein investigation. They were so cozy back then. Look at the pictures. Bill and Hillary Clinton refusing to appear before the House Oversight Committee to testify as part of its investigation into Jeffrey Epstein, setting up a legal confrontation as the Republican-led panel threatens to hold them in contempt of Congress. CBS News with the reporting. Republican Representative James Comer of Kentucky, the committee's chair, said the panel will move next Wednesday on holding the former president and former Secretary of State in criminal contempt. We're going to hold both Clintons in criminal contempt of Congress, Comer told reporters Wednesday. Surely Comer got a 3 a.m. call, which he gladly took. They know we're going to do something about the Clintons. Orange powder on the pillowcase of the person who initiated the call. If the committee votes to hold them in contempt, it would advance to the full House for a vote on whether to recommend the matter to the Justice Department for prosecution. I mean, we see where this is going. Okay. There's that, what's her face, Bondi and her sidekick, Blanche. I think we know what's going to happen here, right? There needs to be some charges. Panel subpoenaed the former president and former Secretary of State in August as part of the investigation. The committee had requested that Bill Clinton appear on Tuesday and Hillary Clinton on Wednesday. In a separate 8-page letter to Comer, Clinton's attorneys made it clear they would not appear for the closed-door questioning. President and Secretary Clinton have already provided the limited information they possess about Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell to the committee. The Clintons' attorney said in the letter dated January 12th, which was obtained by CBS News. They did so proactively and voluntarily, and despite the fact that the subpoenas are invalid and legally unenforceable, untethered to a valid legislative purpose, unwarranted because they do not seek pertinent information, and an unprecedented infringement on the separation of powers, the letter said. Separate letter to Comer on Tuesday that was signed by the Clintons. They noted that several other former officials were subpoenaed as part of the investigation and not forced to testify. In August, the committee also subpoenaed former Attorneys General Merrick Garland, Bill Barr, Alberto Gonzalez, Jeff Sessions, Loretta Lynch, and Eric Holder, and former FBI directors James Comey and Robert Mueller. Letter reads, "We are confident that any reasonable person in or out of Congress will see, based on everything we release, that what you're doing is trying to punish those who you see as your enemies and to protect those you think are your friends," the Clintons wrote. "Every person has to decide when they have seen or had enough and are ready to fight for this country, its principles, and its people, no matter the consequences," they said. "For us, now is that time." The Clintons' attorney called the effort nothing more than a ploy to attempt to embarrass President Trump's political rivals. Last month, Mr. Trump called on the Justice Department to release any Epstein-related materials that name Democrats to, quote, embarrass them. Bill Clinton has appeared in photos with Epstein, took a handful of trips with him decades ago, but has not been accused of any wrongdoing. Materials also contain references to Mr. Trump, who also has not been accused of any misconduct. This time, yeah. And I added that. Former presidents have not successfully been compelled to testify before Congress, but several voluntarily answered questions from committees. So another distraction, and let's be clear, Jackson, I don't think there's, look, Bill Gates' then wife, Melinda Gates, said, "I'm out of here because this guy creeps me out. And you want to be friends with him, Bill." I don't see why someone as smart as Bill Clinton, Slick Willie, however you want to refer to it, smart guy, pulled himself up and became the president of the United States, why he was friends with this sicko, pedo, insane, disgusting dude. I do have questions about that. And I don't care where they land, the answers, the truth. I really don't. I have said it before. I'll say it again, Jackson. There are pictures of Bill Clinton in loungewear, outfits. Not a crime, certainly. I don't care for his fashion, but what do I know? What do I know about fashion? My point is there's a familiarity there that came with those outfits that I saw. Okay. Several of them. And there was this one shiny one. I don't know if it was like what do you call it? What are those things that women wear around the house, or men, if you prefer, muumuu. It was like a moo with a pattern, and it was a kind of flashy, probably high end. My point is, he has different outfits, different days, lounge type settings, and I think that there's probably more we need to know. You see that? I'm not going to get you sued. I love you, TYT. I won't get you sued. But this is a major distraction. What people like us and everyday Americans want when you start talking about messing around with children is the truth. And I think most people don't care where it lands. And once it's proven that you're part of that sick life, we are happy to discard you. But that's not what this is. Or is it? You tell me.
Well, I mean, nobody in the general public, particularly people who aren't, like in their 70s and above, or like really diehard liberal Democrats, are in defense of the Clintons in any type of way. I mean, the Clintons honestly are irrelevant at this point. Whoever was involved with Jeffrey Epstein, most people would want to see them pay some type of consequence. But obviously, this doesn't change the fact that Donald Trump was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 10 years. It doesn't negate the fact that, Trump was the owner of teenage beauty pageants when he was well into his 40s and would just go into the changing rooms because he could and he felt like it. And, just his history of openly talking about abusing women and taking advantage of the position of power that he's in. And the general public just not really caring about women for most of history. But again, at the end of the day, this is very simple. This isn't going to change anything. This isn't going to take the heat off of Trump. But it just goes to show, one, how stupid these people are that they think that this will work, but also they're really not bothered. They're not going to release the Epstein files. And they're going to continue to invade countries and do whatever they can to get us to not talk about this.
Yeah. I just want us to, and I don't know how, I've got a big mouth on this show and others, and I acknowledge that, Jackson. I just think there's some kind of secret formula. It's not just protesting. We see that, that could get you shot in the head at point blank range if you're in Minnesota on an icy street and you just drop your 6-year-old off. But there must be some way to force compliance and squeeze, almost like put these GOP, particularly representatives, members of Congress, through some kind of juicer that extracts just a little bit of integrity. And I don't know what it is, but I know this is enough. Stop playing in our faces is what you need to do. This is it. Stop. This is Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Jackson White is our special guest co-host today. We love Jackson. I'm Sharon Reed. Doc has, for some reason, allowed me to sit in again. Much more to come, including your views.
Hey, Andrew, what's up?
Hey, Cenk, you ready to make the switch?
Yeah, I guess.
I promise it's easy, universal, basic, and you get income.
Yeah, you keep saying that. But you sure I'm gonna have coverage?
Of course you will. You think I would have bad service? I'm Andrew Yang. Of course I have good service.
All right, let's try it. But I'm so bad at tech. So, wait. Should I do this thing of the hashtag business? Andrew, you're still on, right?
Yep.
Oh, I see it. No, wait, I don't see. Oh, yeah, I do see it. Here we go.
I actually did not realize that you'd be searching in real time, but I love it.
How much do people actually normally save?
Yeah, the average American is going to save between $500 and $1,000 a year on Noble.
Yeah, no. So you know what I'm going to do, Andrew? Are you ready to become a Noble member? The 2 buttons are do it and go back. There's no going back. We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Here we go, Noble Mobile.
Oh my gosh, I just called you and are you now on Noble and not Verizon?
Why didn't you tell me it was gonna be super easy?
I know, man. Now you just stay away from your phone and watch the money roll in.
I can do that. Here you go, phone, yeah.
What the f? Cenk, you still there?
Andrew? Oh, well, at least I got Noble Mobile.
It was really just one take. The whole thing is wild.
It's These are my shoes.
Hi, I'm Brett Ehrlich with Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. This is Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. Hi, Brett Ehrlich here. According to EPA head Scott Pruitt, climate change is not happening. He cited a meme on Facebook he saw. When pressed to back up this source, he said it must be accurate because the watermark said it was made by a scientist. So, your move, Truth.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue truth, challenge the establishment, and drive positive change. At a time when corporate capture of our media, our government, and our politics is nearly absolute, everyday working people need a champion to fight for them and to push back against the powerful interests that threaten our democracy itself. At TYT, we're proudly progressive and call out corruption and duplicity wherever we see it, from Republicans, Democrats, or anyone else. And unlike mainstream news media outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to Big Pharma. We only have to answer to our audience, and for nearly 2 decades, we've accomplished that by delivering honest, timely, and insightful perspectives on the day's news without fear or favor or concern for whose toes we might step on or which powerful elites we might offend. And while we're super serious about the news, we also manage to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We can do this together and serve our audience, and yes, have fun doing it.
You are the media revolution. You are much needed.
TYT, TYT.
The place is like 95% TYT on.
You guys, the Young Turks, which is my favorite channel, we're getting that message out.
Tank and the Young Turks do an extraordinarily good job.
No matter what mainstream media says, you have to listen to the Young Turks.
The people who support us on the internet, that's what gives us strength. That's what allows anyone who was in there who was undecided to think one side seems to be winning, they seem to have a bigger army. There might be a reason for that. So thank you guys.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc has the day off. I'm Sharon Reed. Jackson White, Rebel HQ extraordinaire, politics and paper, filmmaker. You're a filmmaker. I check out your stuff. I think you should be nominated for awards more. I'm sure you have been in the past, but remind us, because I want everybody to see your current effort.
Oh yeah, y'all can check out. I put out a documentary about a tornado that came through St. Louis May 16th. I talked to city officials, business owners, local activists, talking about the damages done to properties, what people lost, and opened up a broader discussion about how this is happening around the country, whether it be tornadoes, hurricanes, wildfires, earthquakes, and how our infrastructure system is not really designed or updated to protect us from that. So y'all can check that out on Politics and Paper on YouTube.
Yeah, I encourage people to check that out. And it's just, this is another example why independent media right here, TYT family, you're a member of it, your own independent efforts, Politics and Paper and the like. It's so necessary. People don't realize that there's not, There's not enough investigative journalism out there in the mainstream media. That went away along with mergers and corporations and all kinds of things. But every time you drive across a bridge, because of some of what I've seen here, thank you, Jackson, you want to hold your breath. You want to really watch yourself. I'm not trying to invoke, a lot of fear here, but we have some real infrastructure problems that aren't being addressed, not even being talked about. So thank you for that. TYT members first, let's get to some of your comments. So this comment from Infinity, it's so simple, it's so obvious, it's so real, but it sent chills up my spine as I read it. I so hope the Trump administration does not take this as an example to follow. Unfortunately, it is horrifying to realize that that is a possibility, referring to the unrest in Iran. Over 9,000 enter the Dragon. They're investigating ways to take away his pension. Okay, appreciate your comment. YouTube has literally never faced any consequence for his actions in his entire disgusting life. It doesn't say who you're referring to, so now I have to fill in the gap. Must be talking about one Donald Trump. Archie15, we thank you for that. Another YouTuber, Patrice Masson 6828, hope everyone is staying safe. Yeah, for now, stay indoors. Doesn't mean ICE won't show up, though, and just start banging on doors without a warrant and trying to disappear people. Taylor Shelton, 3267. Hello, everybody. Hello, Taylor Shelton. B. Brown, 7436. His GoFundMe is going to grow. Talking about the Ford worker suspended for calling Trump, yelling out, pedophile protector. I mean, he didn't lie. On what grounds? And was there anything in the employee handbook that said you are not to yell at pedophile protectors when they come to tour the plant? If not, I think it's a slam dunk. He should stay. He should get to stay. Just my opinion. Just mine. Okay. So it's one thing to be a thief. It's not good. Sometimes though, they're hard up in these times. A lot of people are, and so they just want to make ends meet, and they're not trying to be cruel. They're not trying to necessarily hurt another American, so to speak, but they take because they have no choice but to feed themselves, their children, their family, their parents, whoever, right? Generally, people who are in these dire straits don't necessarily go out and run up a $200 bill at a restaurant, but I'm saying not every person who does a dine and dash is the worst or the lowest of the low. I need to say that right at the outset. Okay. That's not what we're talking about here. I wish that Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off! I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Look at these guys. Look at these guys.
No, don't.
Look at these guys. Look at these guys.
Don't record me because you put all the bill on him. Don't record me for that. I'm not in this.
Come on, boy. Come
Let's
on.
go, light skin.
Come on.
Such bluffs. You such bluffs.
What'd you say? Say it again. Say it again.
Don't put me in this.
Say it again. I got your face. I got both your faces.
But I don't want that.
It doesn't matter what you want. Friend of the male Karen, you're on indisputable. You're on indisputable. What you want doesn't matter. And that perhaps should be a lesson to you in familiarity because you don't care sometimes what other people want. Male Karen skips out on $200 bill and hurls slur at restaurant staff. Angry little sucker, isn't he? Runs out on the $200 bill, then calls me the hard R word. You know. Unfortunately, it's America. We all know. Can you guys help me find out who they are? In New York, the poster is asking, hit Judah, TikToker. Unfortunately, Jackson, this is nothing new. Like I said, it's wrong to take things that don't belong to you, but I think in these times, there are people like myself, maybe I'm the only one, but I don't think so, who can show empathy for people who are just trying to make it, maybe get a little nutrition or something to fill their belly. It's not what we're talking about here. And then once caught, I mean, it's so embarrassing. I get why the sidekick of this male Karen does not want to be associated, but you're in the car. The minute you try to do that on my watch, if I've got it and somebody's not getting a tip or their money for the meal, that I'm not getting in the car with you. Okay? That's just me. Perhaps you saw it differently.
No, I didn't see it differently. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like you ran out on a bill. What like there's no defense. And you're an adult. It's not like you're in the 5th or 6th grade and you're like, haha, wouldn't it be fun if we ran out on this? Like, you have no excuse along those lines. And then of course he whipped out the hard R because that changes what you did, So I don't in no way can this man be defended. And at no time was he in the right. But you'd think that he would have $200 to spend if you're gonna go out with somebody. I mean, like typically if you go out to dinner, even if you go somewhere like Applebee's or Fridays or something, you're probably gonna be paying like over $70. So wherever you went, and he was in New York City, because you could tell from the background. So like, bro, you gonna be spending around that much money when you go out. Like he doesn't know that. But hey, he probably didn't get laid that night. So
oh my.
All
sense of entitlement is, I think, partially what you're.
I shouldn't have to pay for this.
Yeah, is what you're getting at, and perhaps the after dinner activity as well. A bad
guy. She was
guy.
going to pay for it.
Probably. Yeah. Probably. I'm not going to pay for it unless, maybe we're putting too much sauce on it. But we're both saying we know the type. We've seen you before. We see you. Okay. I'm very interested in this next story, and we talked about it a lot in the production meeting this morning. I love Teyana Taylor. I love her. She's talented, smart, beautiful, strong, powerful. She was choreographing Beyonce as a teenager. It was an incredible dancer. Beyonce loves her too. Teyana Taylor defends her polarizing character in One Battle After Another. And there she is with the shiny award. Hollywood saying, you done good. We love you. So what's the problem? Well, I'll tell you. Teyana Taylor, who just won her first Golden Globe for her portrayal of Perfidia Beverly Hills in One Battle After Another, says she doesn't fully understand the scrutiny surrounding her character. After all, she comes, she brings it. She definitely is a hard worker, very talented, as we said. 35-year-old actress opened up about the role and the backlash it has sparked for what some viewers have called an over-sexualized, fetishized depiction of a Black woman in a new profile with Vanity Fair. Taylor, her character, Perfidia, who serves as a leader of a far-left revolutionary group, is a misunderstood badass, a complicated figure shaped by an relatable reality. But to large swaths of Black women online, the character has become polarizing, deemed hypersexualized, embodiment of a fetishized misogynoir. Perfidia, who wields her sexuality in relationships with multiple white men, has been criticized as a character built through a lens that reduces Black womanhood to a horny, erotic spectacle. Writer Ellen E. Jones wrote the following criticism of the character for The Guardian. Jezebel's raised kink and Cardi B. In one battle after another, Black women are still stereotypes. It's hard to watch One Battle After Another in the days following the death of fugitive Black liberation activist Assata Shakur and not have some questions about how white male filmmakers depict revolutionary Black women on screen. Many words have already been written about the good in Paul Thomas Anderson's latest film, some say masterpiece, including a 5-star review in The Guardian. But if a film is worth seeing, then it's worth taking seriously. And in this case, that involves asking, dear revered PTA, what is up with you and Black women? We know Anderson is careful, deliberate in his introduction of a racial dimension to this story. We know this because in the original 1990 novel, Vineland by Thomas Pynchon, the character corresponding to Perfidia Beverly Hills, played by Teyana Taylor, is white with fluorescent blue eyes. Her daughter, played by mixed-race Chase Infinity, Also, therefore, white, and Walt, the race of the character corresponding to the other prominent Black woman in the film, Deandra, played by Regina Hall, is not specified. She is usually presumed to be white. It would be fair to say that Anderson has boldly stepped up to a moment in American history, which requires artists to be bold. Sadly, it seems, with regard to the intersection of race and gender, at least he's bitten off more than he can chew. This begins with the character of Perfidia, who is hypersexualized, way beyond the normal horniness that firework lightning in the company of late-era Leonardo DiCaprio might arouse. This is a woman who prioritizes getting off over getting away from an imminently exploding bomb. When she abandons her family, the given reason is that she resents having to compete for her man's attention with a newborn baby. Her own baby. Surely a more plausible explanation would have been that her commitment to the cause made it necessary to put the revolution first, i.e. the same reasoning male ideologues have been using to justify neglecting their families for time immemorial. But no, Anderson went for extreme horniness. Instead, this is a choice, just like it was a choice to name another of his Black female revolutionary characters Jungle P. Inspired by the performer's real stage name, a sexualized spin on the old racist slur, Jungle Bunny. Or to have Perfidia express her principled defiance of the fascist state with the phrase, "This P don't pop for you." You try reading through all of this. But this is a critique. This is something to examine. These are choices which indicate that Anderson is unaware of the racist Jezebel trope, which originated during the endemic sexual exploitation of chattel slavery and has been perpetuated by American pop culture in various guises ever since. Either that or he's expressing a Tarantino-esque overconfidence in his ability to radically repurpose derogatory language and imagery, which is not and has never been directed at him. Also Tarantino-esque, and not in a good way, is the film's fetishized depiction of interracial relationships. The most overtly icky of these is the one between Perfidia and Colonel Lockjaw. White supremacist, grotesque, played by Sean Penn as a collection of ticks in military gear. There's a scene in which Lockjaw sidles up to Bob DiCaprio, whispers, "Do you like black girl? I love them." This is intended to demonstrate the character's repellence, but would be much more effective as such if we hadn't just seen lovable Bob describe his attraction to Perfidia in pretty much the same terms moments earlier. Or Avon Barksdale from The Wire, aka actor Wood Harris, fondly describing his girlfriend, Alana Haim, as an ordinary working white girl. In the OBAA worldview, all interracial relationships are apparently founded on a race kink, with the possibility of genuine connection only ever a happily afterthought. Yes, PTA is in a relationship with a Black or mixed race woman, Maya Rudolph. And no, such personal circumstances do not absolve a filmmaker from the need to consider the points I'm raising, says one Ellen Jones in her very thoughtful analytical piece in The Guardian here. And that's just one perspective, but I can tell you Jones is not alone in her critique. Watch.
Specifically for Black folks who thought this movie was good, my question for you: if Tyler Perry came out with a movie where he had a Black woman character that was supposed to be a revolutionary, and this Black woman revolutionary character was having relations with white men, got pregnant by one of those white men, was drinking during that pregnancy, abandoned that child, before she could complete her revolutionary act, she had to turn to her white man and tell him, pull that D out or get that D up, whatever she said, because she can't complete the revolutionary act until she, that white man, she she snitches and ruins the whole Revolutionary Operation Act, right? And then on top of that, before she leaves, she writes a profound message on the wall to her white man. And what is the message? The message is, this black poom poom don't pop for you no more. If Tyler Perry had that type of character, would y'all still be walking around here talking about, we need to see black women as flawed and nuanced? Ooh, Perfidia was so nuanced and flawed and human. Black women are not a monolith. We don't always have to show black women as perfect. We deserve to see black women as flawed. Will y'all give Tyler Perry that same grace?
Teyana Taylor winning that Golden Globe is the same reason why Halle Berry is the only black woman, or one of the few black women, with a Best Actress Oscar. Halle Berry won for Monsters Ball, and the theory behind why she won is the fact that she was a black woman being fetishized by a white man with a racist father. Teyana Taylor's character in One Battle After Another is basically the same thing, except for the fact that she's not being fetishized by just one white man, she's being fetishized by two, both Sean Penn's character and Leonardo DiCaprio's character. She plays a aggressive black sexual temptress twice over. And just like Monsters Ball, there are very intense sexual scenes between her and these two white men. Like, Sean Penn's character is obsessed with her, and he's very openly racist and homophobic. And I don't say this to take away anything from her award, because I am genuinely happy for her, but white Hollywood does have a theme.
Congratulations to Teyana Taylor for winning Best Supporting Actress for her portrayal of Perfidia in One Battle After Another. Love this for her, but I absolutely hate what this means for the representation of black women in Hollywood, and how so often the institutional powers that be only reward us for portrayals that are stereotypical characters of black women. I'm not bothered that Perfidia was a hypersexual activist. I'm bothered that we never get any interior thoughts about what led her to being that kind of hypersexual character. Paul Thomas Anderson has clearly never cracked open a Toni Morrison or Octavia Butler book, because Sula gave you a roadmap to a character who leans into the power of her and the hedonism of it all. Lauren Olumina in the Parable of the Sower trilogy gives you a character who sacrifices her child in order to fight a revolution. We get the unlikable, we get the unsavory, we even get the mundane, and how powerful that all can be in the works of Toni Morrison and Octavia Butler. We do not get that in One Battle After Another.
Having listened to all that, I now want to go on the road. I want to go on the road and sit down and have summits and be the moderator, perhaps, discussing this film, because there are things that it evokes and brings to the table that are very much a part of American history. But we should tell you, not everyone shares this opinion.
I think this may have gone over some people's heads, but to me, Perfidia was always aware that the child she was carrying did not belong to her partner. And so she had a disconnect there. This is evident to me, for example, when she's clearly 9 months pregnant using an automatic pew-pew. Some of the characters even make a smart remark about it. And then after she gives birth, she's clearly experiencing postpartum. But the mammification of black women runs deep. And unfortunately, we've been made to believe that black women are all encompassing, that we fix all problems, that we are the salve for the world. We take care of not only our children, but everybody's children. And so while I don't think it was the director's intention to alienate the audience in this way, I do think it was the unintended consequence of us, the audience, having a mammification expectation of a black woman being a mother, and then not seeing the follow through of being a black mother that we expect. I hope that makes sense. In the same way, I think black women have been presented to us in film and TV as ride or die. Think Set It Off. I'm going down with this ship because the ship got my bitches in it, got my crew in it. And so that has become our expectation of black women on film. So when you ask the question, what decisions does the film make that dehumanize Perfidia? I think it's a valid question, but the question that should come before it is, what is the expectation of how a black woman appears on the screen?
I saw that character as a flawed revolutionary. That was what Teyana Taylor was to me. She was, the reason she did what she did in the beginning was to embarrass Sean Penn's character. The reason she had sex with him was because it seemed like her only way out, and to protect her people. And that character made that choice because it made sense for that character. Her parents wanted her to be a revolutionary, but she was always a runner. She wasn't a good mother. Like, she was a flawed character, and flawed characters are often the ones that are Oscar and Golden Globe nominated regardless of race. But as black people, it's like we need our characters to be flawless, because Teyana Taylor's character isn't a character a lot of times. She carries the weight of Black people. So it's like, well, you want to celebrate this, that's what you think of us. And I think the voters are like, maybe, I don't know, that's a character. Or maybe that is what they think of Black people. But either way, it's the weight that her character has to carry for Blackness.
Can I just say that if we were able to stop the discussion right there, is it a win? Because art is being discussed, being debated. There's times where that would just be a win. But we haven't heard from Teyana Taylor yet, and we need to. What does she have to say about the discourse? Well, here it is. Are we watching the same film? She asked. I think, Perfidia, you see the results of people overlooking postpartum depression, she explained. You see how that makes her react. And you see this woman that still wants to shoot guns and still wants to be a revolutionary, and she wants all of the things. She added, I think we don't enjoy seeing the harsh reality, but this is what's happening. Her comments to the griot, she goes on. It will never be a moment of judgment because a lot of her mistakes have come from her being in survival mode, dealing with postpartum depression and the title of being a strong woman, a strong Black woman, she noted, adding in reference to herself. We don't get the same amount of compassion as everybody else. We don't get the same amount of grace as everybody else. Everybody just assumes we're okay. Taylor's comments haven't differed from what she has voiced throughout the film's promotional run. In November, she also pushed back against criticisms in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter. Is that not what Black women go through, she said? We are fetishized, especially by creepy mother, she added. We are unfortunately the least protected people, and noted that portraying what Black women go through is a hard reality to accept. And this movie should spark debate, she added. I always knew it would, because sometimes you just got to shake the table. Oh, she shook the table. She shook the table. And there are so many layers here. And depending on who I'm listening to, I can see and feel all of it. Black woman is supposed to be everything. She's complicated, but then she's also viewed and written as one note in Hollywood. Some ways I'm proud of her. No, not in some ways. I am proud of Teyana Taylor for standing her ground in her truth, in her role, and in her portrayal. Incredibly talented. It'd be a shame if she didn't get the Oscar because of any kind of blowback, or I don't know. It's such a coveted award sometimes that there are plants and all kinds of things. And I'm not suggesting this isn't organic, Jackson. I believe the people speaking out feel strongly and have represented incredible points. But again, have to agree with some of them. But what say you? I want you to, if you can, address what was noted on both sides, and there's probably more than both sides, many sides, layers of this, and also address Teyana Taylor, who is an artist doing art and won this role. What about her?
Well, I mean, this really isn't my lane of subject matter in general. But I think that it's definitely a reality that minorities are sexualized all over the world. Sexual tourism is real. People go to other countries to sleep with whatever, whether it's in an Asian country or a South American country. Black and brown people have been fetishized and continue to be fetishized. I also think that we shouldn't really expect for white directors or, white people in positions of power to put consideration for Black and brown groups at the forefront of anything. First and foremost, because it's not their culture and it's not, naturally going to be necessarily what they're aiming to do. And also because it doesn't really impact the project that they're trying to make. I mean, like, they just trying to make money. There are Black directors, there are Black filmmakers. I think that for these types of issues, if we want different types of representation, we should push for it, but also we got to make more of our own products and more of our own creations, because I just don't think we should particularly expect all of these desires and wants to be met by a white man or a white woman. But I think, we should continue to make money off of the fact that we get fetishized. You know what I'm saying? Like, why
Long as
not?
it's out there.
Yeah, as long as it's out there, you know what I'm saying? Like, whether you a woman or a man, take advantage of the fact that that the majority of the population may fetishize you. Maybe, I don't know, if you want to be a stripper, you want to open up OnlyFans or something. I don't know. All I'm saying is there's definitely money to be made off of that. And it is a reality, whether it's on this movie, which I haven't seen, so I really can't comment on it that much, but whether it's on screen or in real life, minorities will continue to be sexualized. So it can cause problems, but if you can make some money off of it, then go ahead and do your thing.
So a couple of things. I think you're right. We've learned hard lessons about making our own product, as Tyler Perry says. And even though, people have taken a critical eye to his work, he still is a pioneer who's talked about building his own table so he can sit his ass down there and do and write the kind of movies he wants. Much of what you said I can relate to. However, Teyana Taylor, as talented as she is, just incredible, was chosen for this role because of who she is, her fan base, her reach. It wasn't just, listen, a lot of people can act. A lot of people are really good, and I'm not taking anything away from her. But they chose her because of her representation, hip hop, the culture, and she's crossed over. Is there not a responsibility if you want to make money off of her? And we've seen it before. Is there not a responsibility? It's not their world. It's not their culture. I happen to believe that if a Black person were directing this, they would be expected and would meet the challenge of writing for white society and what they can understand. We have that unique perspective because it's their world that we're existing within. Any comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that at the end of the day, we're talking about fiction and fantasy. So I don't think it really matters that deeply. But I do think that it's worth commenting on. I think representation does matter. But at the end of the day, at least for me, when it comes to stuff like this, I think there's more important battles to fight, especially right now. If they want to represent us a certain way, they will. If they don't, they won't. But what difference does that really make when it comes down to, the issues that we are actually facing in real life, at least for me?
We're about to go to break, but I'll hit you with a one-word answer, please, for this question. Does Perfidia get the Oscar?
I haven't seen it. I don't know.
I can't prevent her from getting
I can't say. I haven't seen it. But if she got it, then if she's up for it, then she must have done a good job.
Well, we won't
and Leonardo DiCaprio is typically fantastic in whatever role he plays. So I just haven't seen the movie, so I can't really sit here and talk about it like I have. But I think that representation does matter. But at the same time, job security and stuff like that matters more.
Yeah, sure. Well, she's doing it. She's representing herself and she's pushing back. And we'll have to wait to find out who gets nominated or not. And if this is in any way going to hurt her chances. We'll see. And if you even care about the Oscars anymore. This is Indisputable. Sharon Reed alongside Jackson White, who's our special guest co-host today. Doc has the day off. Much more to come, including more of your comments.
Hey everyone, Matteo Scarapore here, author of Black Buck, which is Shop TYT's first fiction book ever. I'm honored. So, Black Buck is about a young man named Darren who's living in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. He lives with his mom, he has his girlfriend, he has his best friend, he has his neighborhood, and his neighborhood has him. Darren's also working at a Starbucks in Midtown Manhattan. And one day, this man, real suave and good looking, comes in and asks Darren to give him his regular. But for some reason, Darren says no. This man named Rhett Daniels, who's the CEO of a startup called Someone, located on the 36th floor of the same building, is impressed. And he invites Darren upstairs, and then he extends an offer to join his elite sales team. Darren reluctantly joins, and he soon realizes that he's not the only black salesperson there. He's the only black person in the entire company. So he goes through hell and back in order to make it to the top. And once there, he has status, money, power, but he says, you know what? I don't like being the token black guy. So he hatches a plan to help other people of color infiltrate America's tech startup sales teams, redefining what it means to be a minority in the workplace. This book, definitely, if you couldn't tell, touches on many things that are relevant to this moment that we're all living in right now. But it's also connected to the many moments in history that have come before today. I hope that you read it. I hope that you enjoy it. And if you want to order a copy, go to shoptyt.com. Thank you, be well, and happy 2021.
Here's the inside scoop on diners in LA. You want good pastrami sandwich, you go to Factors. You want to see some people in the business, you go to Nate and Al's. You want the best variety? My secret spot's the Nosh. Now here's the inside scoop on politics and news. You go watch the Young Turks live every day at 6 o'clock Eastern.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc is off today. Jackson White is here, so never fear. Can't wait to hear what you have to say about some of the stories in our last segment. Let's get to your comments, shall we? TYT member. Urban Hermit has this to say about Bill and Hillary Clinton refusing to testify, ignoring the subpoena, which they, through their attorney, say is unlawful. Surely Bill Bubba Clinton has the down low on Trump if ever called to testify. They should go and weaponize. Not a bad idea. Salvi Dragon says, you know what I don't hear about Epstein? Anything good. It's true. It's true. I want to know everybody. Why were you hanging out with this guy? And what did you know? Guam will capsize Dragon says, maybe now is the time for survivors to start naming names other than Clinton. I say name all the names. Just like have diarrhea.
Right, like they supposed to. Yeah. Go ahead and name all of it like you're supposed to.
Tell it all. Right. Yeah. More comments. Appreciate you. Excuse me, Black Jack. Those files will never be released. Probably right.
Yeah, no, they're not.
No. They'll release more on Dr. King in that file before they release anything else. They'll want to release something on the civil rights leader.
They'll release more on the JFK assassination for real.
Grassy,
no. I think I don't know. I don't know what they actually released. But bottom line, we ain't seen it.
Not enough.
No.
Tone Loke 3000, bottom line, anybody in this world who has had a best friend knows exactly everything about them and what motivates them. There is over 1,000 victims. They are hiding in the file. Yeah. I have to say, I agree. Okay. Let's get to this next one. Tragic, difficult. 4 migrants die in U.S. custody over the first 10 days of 2026. The hell is going on? 4 die in custody, and we're only 10 days in. Watch this.
This is 46-year-old Cambodian-American Parity Law from Upper Darby, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia. And last Tuesday, on January 6th, Parity left his house to go to the grocery store, but then he never returned, and then his family found his car a mile away from their house. They had no idea what happened to Parity, and they wouldn't find out until after he passed away. What had happened to Parity was he was abducted by immigration, but the thing is, he has a substance problem. And what the family found out afterwards was that he was put into general populations with dozens of other people. And even though he was vomiting and begging for help, begging for water, he was neglected and left to die. And it wasn't until after he was found unconscious that they tried to do CPR on him and gave him Narcan, which is odd because if you know what Narcan is, it is to help with people who are overdosing. And it does so by blocking receptors, but it is not designed for managing withdrawal symptoms and can actually trigger sudden withdrawal in dependent individuals.
If you're going to disappear people, you probably should have a little bit more know-how, more knowledge, more skill set, more doctors, more humane condition. You should probably know a little more about their background. And just off the top of my head, things I thought of. Didn't have to happen. The family of a Cambodian immigrant who died while being held at the federal detention center in Center City, Philadelphia, is demanding answers about his detention and the medical care he received before his death. Relatives of 46-year-old Parody Lay say he deserved better than the treatment he received after being taken into custody by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. ABC 6 Action News with the details. He was picked up by agents Tuesday near his home in Upper Darby, Delaware County, according to his family, who said they had been searching for him after he disappeared while going to the grocery store. Family members found his car about half a mile from his home. ICE confirms agents pulled Lay over on Tuesday, took him into custody after verifying his identity. But you got to verify more than his identity because there were other issues going on and he should still be here. Family members said Lay had long struggled with drug addiction and did not receive the care he needed for withdrawal while in custody. One day after he was brought in, Lay was found unresponsive in his cell at the detention center. ICE said guards administered CPR and several doses of Narcan before he was taken to Jefferson Hospital. His family was notified at that point. To finally see him like that is heartbreaking, his daughter, Jasmine, said. She said her father was a real person and people loved him. His nephew, Michael, says the family was told that Parody was in a general population with dozens of other people in ICE custody and that he had been vomiting, begging for help, begging for water, wasn't given water while detained. There is no humanity. Begging for water, an obvious crisis. You're the judge and jury. You've already adjudicated him guilty, so he gets nothing to drink. Not water. Lay is not the only one. 4 migrants die in U.S. custody over the first 10 days of 2026. Off to a hell of a start. Parody, Luis Beltran, Yanis Cruz, Luis Gustavo Nunez, Caceres, and Geraldo Lunas Campos, pronounced dead after being detained by federal immigration authorities. Yanis Cruz, age 68, died January 6 after being transported to John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital in Indio, California, to be treated for chest pain. Nunez Caceres, 42, pronounced dead January 5th in Houston after being treated for chronic heart-related health issues. Lunas Campos, 55, died in Montana following medical distress. His cause of death is under investigation, according to the DHS. Amidst the deaths, DHS officials have reiterated their commitment to providing all detainees with adequate medical treatment. I hate including that part of their statement because it's a giant middle finger to those of us with any common sense. Adequate medical treatment. I guess they'd be the arbiters of what is adequate. We, though, can say, looking at this just as independent observers, it wasn't adequate medical treatment. Duh. ICE is committed to ensuring that all those in custody reside in safe, secure, and humane environments. I have to read the rest of this lie. Comprehensive medical care is provided from the moment individuals arrive and throughout the entirety of their stay, except you're taking away medicine from people who have later died. Department officials wrote that in a statement, The Hill reporting on that. Part of me wants to say, don't include the statements, don't even ask them about it, and don't rely on their investigation. But we're journalists and we have to get both sides. I think there's only one side here. You suck. You didn't do enough. This is disgusting. Jackson?
Yeah, absolutely. This really highlights the fact that cruelty and invoking and spreading fear, and really a lot of posturing is the main point of all of this. Because first and foremost, when it comes to a mass deportation, that isn't happening, right? People are dying, people's rights are being violated. Just everyday workers who contribute greatly to this economy and to our communities are being taken without due process. But mass numbers of people are not being kicked out of here. Certainly no more than Joe Biden did and no more than Barack Obama did, which also highlights the real incompetency of the Trump administration and their inability to do even their most cruelest of campaign promises. They can't even carry that out. But they can create a system that is very ineffective and inefficient, so much to the point that people die in custody. That's not helping this country in any way. That's not helping with our relations with other nations in any way. And again, if the main point is mass deportations now, well, that isn't happening. So it's just failure through and through, tragedy through and through, and they don't care. They absolutely don't care. So I think we're going to see more of this.
Yeah, we are. And because someone looks a certain way, who cares? It broke my heart when the daughter said he had people who loved him. That's such a basic thing to say, but so necessary. This is Indisputable. Jackson White is our special guest co-host today. I'm Sharon Reed in for Doc today. Much more to come. Stay with us.
Hey everyone, Matteo Scarapore here, author of Black Buck, which is Shop TYT's first fiction book ever. I'm honored. So, Black Buck is about a young man named Darren who's living in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. He lives with his mom, he has his girlfriend, he has his best friend, he has his neighborhood, and his neighborhood has him. Darren's also working at a Starbucks in Midtown Manhattan. And one day, this man, who's real suave and good looking, comes in and asks Darren to give him his regular. But for some reason, Darren says no. This man named Rhett Daniels, who's the CEO of a startup called Someone, located on the 36th floor of the same building, is impressed. And he invites Darren upstairs, and then he extends an offer to join his elite sales team. Darren reluctantly joins, and he soon realizes that he's not the only black salesperson there. He's the only black person in the entire company. So he goes through hell and back in order to make it to the top. And once there, he has status, money, power, but he says, you know what? I don't like being the token black guy. So he hatches a plan to help other people of color infiltrate America's tech startup sales teams, redefining what it means to be a minority in the workplace. This book definitely, if you couldn't tell, touches on many things that are relevant to this moment that we're all living in right now. But it's also connected to the many moments in history that have come before today. I hope that you read it. I hope that you enjoy it. And if you want to order a copy, go to shoptyt.com. Thank you, be well, and happy 2021.
Here's the inside scoop on diners in LA. You want good pastrami sandwich, you go to Factors. You want to see some people in the business, you go to Nate and Al's. You want the best variety? My secret spot's the Nosh. Now here's the inside scoop on politics and news. You go watch the Young Turks live every day at 6 o'clock Eastern.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. I'm Sharon Reed in for Doc today. Jackson White is also here with us, special guest co-host. Quickly, your comment. Salvi Dragon says this: I hope the people that hurt other people and lack humanity live the rest of their lives in guilt. If they had a conscience, maybe, referring to
They got to be wired. They got to be wired right for that.
Not sure. But the thing is, Salvi Dragon said, I hope. And said we could always hope,
They
keep
may
hope
have a
alive.
realization.
That's right. That's right. Let's give you another one. That was very thoughtful, analytical, and clear. Actually active, has to say, on Twitch. I'm not sure which part you're referring to. Far be it from me to be clear. I'm all over the place most times, so I don't know what you're referring to, but we'll take it. Thank you, Actually Active on Twitch, and to all who commented today. We appreciate you greatly. Keep it coming. Keep the support of the network coming. We need you now more than ever. Support of this family. Okay, we have an update on the story we brought you yesterday on Indisputable. The actor Timothy Busfield, he's in custody, finally turned himself in amid child sex abuse allegations. More from ABC News.
Tonight, actor-director Timothy Busfield, known for his roles on hit shows 30-something and The West Wing, has now turned himself into police, charged with sex crimes against a pair of child actors he directed, releasing this video to TMZ.
They're all lies, and I did not do anything to those little boys, and I'm going to fight it.
According to the arrest warrant, the suspected abuse allegedly happened in New Mexico during the filming of the TV series The Cleaning Lady. Albuquerque police claim the victim's parents reported the case to Child Protective Services, saying the alleged abuse started when the boys were 7 years old and lasted more than a year. Investigators claim the mother told them Busfield had the boys call him Uncle Tim, and one of the boys said Tim would come into the bedroom on the movie set. Police allege that child was later diagnosed with PTSD, and his therapist reported the boy was having nightmares about the director touching him. Earlier today, U.S. Marshals launched a search for Busfield in New York's Catskill Mountains, where he lives with his wife, actress Melissa Gilbert. Busfield says he was already driving to New Mexico.
I got the call Friday night. I had to get a lawyer. Saturday, I got in a car and drove 2,000 miles to Albuquerque.
The actor himself, Busfield, booked into the Metropolitan Detention Center in Albuquerque around 2:30 p.m. That's according to online jail records. Busfield is charged with 2 counts of criminal sexual contact of a minor, 1 count of child abuse, according to Bernalillo County District Attorney Sam Bregman, who said his office will seek to have Busfield detained while the case is pending. Jail records show Busfield is being held without bail. Arrest warrant was issued Friday after the children reported that Busfield allegedly touched them inappropriately on the set of the Fox series The Cleaning Lady. Authorities said they had been unable to locate him since the warrant was issued. So on Tuesday, as the report mentioned, U.S. Marshal Service joined the Albuquerque Police Department in its search. Now, we should tell you more. Busfield's attorney, Larry Stein, said his client was not attempting to avoid arrest, had asked authorities to drop the warrant, let him turn himself in, which they declined. He wants to turn himself in because he wants to clear his name and reputation, Stein said. He didn't do anything wrong. These accusations are false, as the investigator from the independent law firm found. The abuses alleged to have taken place between November 2022, spring 2024, according to the criminal complaint. Warner Brothers commissioned a law firm to conduct that independent investigation into complaints made against Busfield, reported in February 2025, but was not able to find any evidence to corroborate the allegations. The allegations included claims that Busfield kissed a child on the face as he was getting a haircut in the hair and makeup trailer. NBC News with the reporting here. Christina McGovern, the investigator from Solomon Law, who led that Warner Brothers investigation, said in a statement that she was not able to corroborate any allegations against Busfield known to the company at the time. Based on what was alleged and all evidence gathered, including multiple witness statements, I found no corroborating evidence that Mr. Busfield engaged in inappropriate conduct or that he was ever alone with the twins on set, McGovern said. How about the wife, Melissa Gilbert, famous in her own right? A representative for her, the actress director, issued this statement. Melissa Gilbert is not making public statements at this time, publicist said. Any purported statements circulating online, including AI-generated deep fakes of her breaking her silence, should be treated as coming from her, should not be treated as coming from her. She's honoring the request of Tim's lawyers not to speak publicly while the legal process unfolds. During this period, her focus is on supporting and caring for their very large family as they navigate this moment. Melissa stands with and supports her husband and will address the public at an appropriate time. We ask that their privacy be respected. There's also this from Variety. They're reporting, according to jail records, Busfield is being held in the facility's psychiatric acute care unit. That could be routine in circumstances like this. We don't know. That's just the reporting, as we said, from Variety. So a couple of things, I guess I could understand why one would drive from New York all the way to New Mexico, Jackson, if you are a famous actor and you don't want to be taken into custody outright. You want to turn yourself in, not jump on a plane and be flagged. But this is disturbing stuff. I don't know what happened. I tend to side with children in wanting to know more when children say things that are absolutely repugnant, as has been alleged in this case. I'm not discounting the independent investigation. I needed to do this independent investigation by Warner Brothers. I'm not suggesting that it wasn't or was. I'm just saying that when a company who has placed faith and stock in a member of the Hollywood community is charged with doing the investigating, I have to look at it with a more critical eye. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, well, first and foremost, the days of being a successful fugitive. Jesus, I can't talk right now. A successful fugitive are over. Trying to live out here away from the eyes of the law. Digital technology has advanced too much. There's really no effective way. So if he was trying to run away, he had to have known that he was going to get caught eventually. So one way or another, he's at least the information about what happened, the public is likely going to be privy to it. So we'll learn more as this case develops, but it definitely wouldn't be like unheard of. People in positions of power have done this quite frequently. So if he's totally innocent, I don't think that he would be in the position that he's in right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and two, it's more likely, especially as well. Like it's more likely for a man to like in a position like that to, take advantage over a woman than little boys. So like if a bunch of men are saying that you did this to them, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, come on.
Well, they're
like,
children now.
Yeah,
This investigation has been going on for some time, so they're a little bit older.
Yeah.
I will also say that, you listen, when people give a statement, I hope they're telling the truth. But again, the Hollywood ecosystem, I've been on these sets, and the importance and the deference and other things given, you want to keep working perhaps. I'm not suggesting that people lied here. I hope people would put children first and care about them. But I can't just accept what the studio says and their independent law firm, who paid them, by the way. So there's that. I just want the truth here.
Yeah.
I think Melissa Gilbert's in an incredibly difficult position, but so is the mother of these twins and the twins themselves. And by the way, we reported this yesterday, during the interview, Busfield reportedly told investigators, well, I may have tickled them, but that would be all. And then he invoked a scorned woman, the mother, revenge. This is all that's about. She's doing this because the kids were cut out of the final show in the final season. So there's that. Look, I want to end on a Senate note because Marisa Black is leaving us today, one of the extraordinary members of the production team who's just flawless, sweet, kind, intelligent. She's the greatest. I remember when she first joined the show and Doc gushing about her, but they're all great behind the scenes. Sad to see you go, Marissa, but we're grateful for the service, and I'm so excited about what's to come as she, I guess I'm allowed to say, is headed to New York. We don't know exactly where. We're not going to say that. I just cautioned her this morning to keep in touch because I just love her, and the whole team does. Once you're part of the family, I guess you always are around here, but also to visit your mother. Make sure you go back and visit your mom. I'm a mother, so I'm always thinking about mothers. And if my baby moved across the country, even to pursue her dreams, I'd want her back. Jackson, final thoughts from you and where people can find your great work.
Yeah, definitely good luck to Marissa. You're going to a good place. You got to keep on living your life, keep on doing your best, and you've definitely been amazing. So, best of luck to you.
Yeah.
And yes, y'all can check me out at Politics and Paper on YouTube. Check out my documentary. You can go into the film project section. It's been doing really well, talking about climate change and infrastructure in America.
Definitely check that out because it's a keeper. And so are you, Marissa. Don't be a stranger. I always believe that when I get to work with great people who there's nothing I could say negative about her. She's the greatest. I just pray our paths cross again. And I always believe they will, professionally, personally, however you want to take it. Just don't forget about us. This is Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. We hope you'll join us next time.